yeah, so I accidentally cut ourselves off on there. So we're just talking about empowerment programs, getting out in the bush and in nature, and empowerment programs, setting goals and understanding what clients want. So other things we can talk about are appreciation. That's a big one for us. Being grateful for what we have. In Australia, we're very lucky. We're very lucky in Australia. There's a lot of things to be grateful for. We're not in a war zone, for example. I know some people have a lot of difficulties with their finances or with jobs and things, but generally speaking, and I don't like to just general terms, and there's always a problem with talking general terms. There's always people that are a lot worse off, but generally, these are first world. We're a first world country, and there's a lot of other countries and a lot of other people and communities in the world that are a lot worse off than what we are collectively in Australia. So I feel that we've got a lot of things to be grateful for. But even when things are really bad and you are struggling, just the air that we breathe, just being able to breathe air, or even wake up in the morning, is something to be grateful for. So generally I like to have conversations around that. So a lot of the time getting outdoors, especially in the bush settings quite close to the CBD in Queensland, in Brisbane here, there's a lot to be grateful for. The opportunity to be able to walk through these areas, it doesn't cost any money, it's free. We can find a lot to be grateful for in these environments. If we just do a bit of a 360 here, it's quite amazing really that I could scream at the top of my lungs here. I'm only a couple of minutes from the CBD, and no one would hear me, so it's there is a lot to be appreciative for in this world. So exploring, so when I do some of these empowerment programs, often it's just about conversations and customizing the experience based on the client that I'm helping, and finding out through conversation what it is that they could be grateful for every day. Sometimes some people could be grateful for their job that they got, or their income stream, so much. Or sometimes if they're involved in a big accident and they've got some sort of issues with physical limitations and that from an accident, they're grateful to be alive, even though they might be suffering in other ways. Just the fact that they're still here could be beneficial to them. So yeah, while there's life, there's hope. That's my philosophy, and while there's hope, we can continually improve to get a better life. So that's one: appreciation, gratefulness, and that could also include religion. I don't practice religion. It's not something that I practice. It's not something that I preach. But different people have different religions and different ideas and concepts about that, and sometimes that can create a lot of inspiration or motivation to be better. A lot of the religious religious paragraphs or in the Bible or Quran or whatever scriptures you read want you to be the best version of yourself. Often it's honouring God to be that. So some of these things can be integrated into religion, and all part of that gratefulness. Be grateful for the God that gave you life and air and your beliefs around that, and honouring that life to be the best you can be often helps a lot of people. So that's fairly good as well. So that's one thing. So appreciation, gratefulness of finding specific things. So the next thing that I look to focus on in general is optimism. Optimism for the future. It's very easy to get down and negative. Often there's so much negativity on the news, negativity in your life, and you see all the doom and gloom everywhere. And it's really easy to get sucked into that. So being optimistic for the future, I feel, has benefit when it comes to your own well-being. So a lot of that conversation that I have with my clients revolves around fighting the 3 P's of pessimism. So we talk about the 3 P's of pessimism. The first P being pervasiveness. Pervasive, all emerging everywhere. And it's really hard for me, it was very hard for me to understand that concept. I never really went to school and done much stuff with language. And when I first heard that phrase pervasiveness, I never heard that before. It was something new to me, and it intrigued me to understand what this word means. And it's a good word to use for it. Impregnating, all-encompassing. So just pervasiveness is one of the P's of one of the enemies of optimism. Another one is permanence. Forever. It's going to be like this forever. That's one of the other P's. And the third one is personal. It's all my fault and it's all on me. It's my doing. So fighting the 3 P's of pessimism, which is by definition our enemies of optimism, pervasiveness, permanence and personal, will help to be more optimistic. So even understanding them words, when I first heard about this, I struggled to comprehend how that all fitted in. And a good friend of mine, I'd done a lot of work in the mental health sector and suicide prevention when I first started in the program. I think it still goes on a bit. It was through Wesley Mission there when I was involved. I know Wesley Mission, I'm no longer involved with it, but it was a suicide prevention program and focused on men's on men's overall health, and it was a really good program. But one of the big tools that I got from that is these 3 P's of pessimism, the enemies of optimism, and learning the words pervasiveness and the meaning pervasiveness, permanence and personal wasn't really enough for me to grasp what it was. It wasn't until someone said use it as a real example that I began to understand, and that was everything's shit, it's always going to be shit, and it's all my fault. So that's the thinking that can lead to pessimism. So let's expand that a little bit. Everything's shit. Pervasiveness is all encompassing. Everything is shit. And these are the things, when we're going through situations in life, it can seem like everything is shit, but it's just trying to find the exception to the rule. I can't see any flowers here, but often in town, when I'm walking around the footpaths, and people have got gardens, and I can find a really good flower. And I can point that out to a client and go, everything's shit. Really? Is this shit? And it'll be a nice, beautiful flower. You know, is the sunrise shit? Is that beautiful super moon that was last night shit? No, they're not shit. They're beautiful. And even this here, it's all dry. And in Australian bushland's probably not that pretty, but it's in the eye of the beholder, and I can't consider this shit. This is beautiful. It's beautiful weather, nice day today. Not too hot, not too cold. I can hear a few noises from the birds and that around. I don't know if you can pick that up on the mic. You know, so even just walking down this track, I can find things that aren't shit. You know, I think this is quite enjoyable. You know, so trying to find the exception is probably pretty important. So everything's shit. So looking at finding exception on that to stop that statement. It's always going to be shit. Now, always is a very long time. Now, I've got history of suicide attempts, and that was the thinking. I know exactly what the thinking is. You can't picture, you're that involved in what's going on in your life and all the negativity, you can't picture. It's hard to picture you getting through that and having a successful life, because you know nothing but pain. It's very hard to get past that. But trust me, you know, tomorrow is another day. And I know a lot of people say that, and when you're stuck in a loop, it's easy to say, oh, it's just another day, same old. But things get better. Things do get better. You just got to believe it, take action towards it, and things get better. You know, a year in someone's life could make substantial differences, you know. So you just got to believe it, take action towards it. But you know, permanence forever. It's always is a long time, you know. The stars are always going to be in the sky, but things that happen in your life, you know, it's not always going to be bad. Hang in there, you know. You just hang in there. That next day, things will get better, and they'll slowly get better, and eventually you'll look back and you go, oh, I made it through. One of the things I try to think. Hey guys.
Thanks,
mate. It's good to see some other people utilising the track. It's another Yeah, always. Yeah, that's a long time. So just trying to find that exception again. You know, look back and you go, gee, I did get through that. So every day you're alive and you're working towards creating better outcomes in your life, things will get better. And often, a lot of the things that we worry about just evaporate. They say time heals all, and it's true, you know. So just getting through that day by day, eventually things will get better. So, you know, so just trying to find that exception to always as well. And it's all my fault. It's easy to blame ourselves. I'm shit. They bash me up because I'm an easy target, or, you know, I deserve this. I deserve what I'm getting because I'm, you know, selfish bastard, or whatever it is. You know, it's really easy to blame yourself. A lot of the things we do to eliminate this sort of stuff and make it less personal is to look at circle of influence. What is it that I can influence and what's out of my control? So understanding what you're in control of and what you're not in control of. So you can control your own behaviour, you can control your own health, you can control your own fitness, you can control your own thoughts, take control of your mind and your thoughts, but you can't control the actions of others. That's them. You can't change other people's thinking or feelings, or it's, you know, that's on them to do. You can tell them your opinion, and you can try to express different perspectives, but, you know, if people get upset by things you say, that's on them. It's their choice. They can either get upset or not upset, or they can be triggered or not triggered. That's all on them. It's outside of your control. So developing understanding around what's within your control and what's not, to try and eliminate the feeling of everything's personal. You know, the world's not against you. You used to always think, you know, and there used to be a joke too. Used to think the whole world was against me, was a joke, you know. And then I realised, you know, the small communist countries like Cuba couldn't really give a shit. It was only the big, you know, European and American countries that were against me. But ultimately, you know, no one's against you. You know, it's just life. And just trying to navigate through that the best you can. So there are a few things that we talk about on our walks and empowerment programs. So the first one was, and I accidentally pressed stop on the video. So, but the first one was, you know, talking about goals and what it is we're hoping to achieve and all that sort of stuff, and getting down to the roots of it all. But the first thing was being grateful and appreciating things. The second one is optimism and fighting the 3 P's of pessimism, which will just refresh our memories: permanence, pervasiveness, and personal. So, you know, if we can fight them 3 P's. So what else is it? Then we talked about, you know, circle of influence. That's obviously part of that as well. So, you know, these are some of the conversations that we have when we're on our empowerment programs, just to try and grab good outcomes for people. And even just reminding people, you know, that you know, today's another day, and it doesn't matter if you blew your diet yesterday and ate a heap of chocolate. Let's start again today. It's okay. It's okay if you have failures, or you know, I don't care about the word failure. I don't mind failing. It means I'm trying, and, you know, failure to me is a badge of honour, because if you don't try anything, you'll never fail. So trying stuff and failing is better than not trying at all, because ultimately what you're trying to do is, by failing, is you're working out how not to do it. So or grabbing some more experience to empower you to do things. So that's, you know, something that I'm big on. So at Amber Resolve, that's basically what we're trying to achieve. We're just trying to get outdoors, ideally outdoors, or anywhere, depends, and just have real conversations about what's going on in your life, and talk about what you can do to get things better, and generally walk beside you, and just go through some of these issues with you. There's a few other things that we generally talk about, like I'm a big one for, and I've got a big program about building complexity in your life for your mental health. So maybe we'll talk about that after this video. Thanks guys.